What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to episode 31 of the Casual Weebs podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic week. It is a pretty sorrowful week as we said goodbye to some of our favorites this season. Aya Hide Your Feelings Russian ended last week. This week we lost Wistoria and the Elusive Samurai. But hey, listen, at the end of this week, the October 2nd to the 5th, I think we're starting to get a lot of different animes starting to premiere, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So, you know what? We're only going to have a couple of days that we got to wait, but there's going to be some badass, incredible anime coming out. And I mean, Wistoria and Elusive Samurai had some pretty interesting season finales. So I
Very
say
good.
we just dive right into it and talk about it. Which one do you want to talk about first?
You want to do Elusive Samurai?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that was sick. I was pretty happy with it. It was cool to get like a lot of Kojiro action because I kind of feel like he's probably been the one we focused on the least as
Mm-hmm.
far as like the combat retainers. Um, yeah, that fight with those like weird looking soldiers. The way he
Yeah.
described them too was hysterical. And then he's
We
like, "Oh
makes
yeah, I
fun of
should
them.
probably." Yeah, he's like, "I should probably learn their names." But like, yeah, I feel him.
I feel like this episode we really saw how they're actually going to perform in war. You know what I mean? We saw that their strengths, and we're like, oh, like this is what war is going to look like in this anime. You know what I mean? The way that they strategized and then played it out, like Gemba, I believe his name is, but he was the took the form of the leader. I thought that was so funny. I don't know why. I just wasn't expecting that. Like that's so obvious that he just like popped down on him, and I was like, oh my god, like yeah, it makes sense. So the way that they can deceive the other army is going to be absolutely insane. The fighting skill on their side is insane, and then honestly, the strategy, the intelligence is absolutely incredible from these kids. It has been a really good episode to watch. You know, very fun in that aspect. Um, yeah, he shined, bro. Like him going toe to toe on horseback against that leader was absolutely awesome. The way that he persevered was sick. That kid's a beast.
I was so sick because you could see him like shaking in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
when it's like one on one. Like you knew he was nervous, and he says after like the first couple of swings, like, I have a disadvantage in size, strength, weight, and like riding on horseback just like amplifies that kind of stuff. It was This whole episode was like very like real. Like,
Mm-hmm.
these kids aren't just gonna like dice up these grown savage adults. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see them like use tactics and strategy, like you were saying, to kind of give them the edge. And I totally forgot about Genba's like ability to morph into people because he
Yeah.
showed it a couple times, but he hadn't done it. So that was a cool kind of like trick to pull at the end there. But yeah, Kojiro, it was cool to see him kind of like steel himself and like get over his nervousness because that guy was definitely swinging to kill him. And then those guys ambush him, kind of like the helpers. It was
Yeah.
cool to see him kind of like, even at his age, command like a unit and have success. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, the way he was able to like get their respect, and he's like, "Oh my god, like why does everyone know my name?" That part was also really funny too. Because they're like, "Oh yeah, that guy, that messenger kid, he kept screaming it yesterday." he's like, he's like, "I'm so proud of you. That's my buddy. That's my friend. I love
My
that
boy.
guy." He's like,
That
"Oh,
was
that." He's
awesome.
like, "That's embarrassing." But like for last episode though, honestly, we were talking about it last podcast episode that they need to have that cliffhanger, that scene, that moment that draws us back to season two. I just don't think they had it this episode. I feel like they showed us what war is going to look like in this anime, and it's going to be sick. It's going to be badass. These kids are going to absolute fucking destroy. And of course, we haven't even seen the best fights at all. I mean, because the opponents that they're going to go against, the real true villains, are demonic demons, you know what I mean? So that's going to be absolutely insane. But like I'm a little worried that like it's going to come back for season 2, and like if there's a bunch of other good enemies, I don't know if it's going to end up taking that front spot. I think they really messed up by not having that big cliffhanger.
I'm totally with you. Like it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, the tactics and stuff like that was cool. Um, yeah, but we didn't really get any big scenes. There were no like major villains like Takauji or his brother or anybody like that featured in this episode, which I thought
Mm.
was kind of surprising. I thought the CGI was actually really well done this episode compared to like episode 4, I think, on that horseback, the battle on horseback. I thought the
Yeah.
CGI was like really well done. But you're right. Like I could see people kind of skipping over it or forgetting about it, just because there wasn't really too much hype or like anything really crazy at the end of the season. I'm definitely gonna be there for season 2, but I'm definitely with you. There wasn't anything that it was like, oh my god, I gotta find out what happens next, or like, I'm running to the manga where some shows after it, it's like, oh, I need more, I want more. I didn't totally get that, but I will say overall, I really enjoyed it, and for the plot, like it was believable. You're not just having these kids with like plot armor take out these adults. But you're definitely right. Not didn't give off like finale vibes this episode. It was just like a good solid episode of this anime.
Yeah, and like I thought like maybe it wouldn't be the end, but I think it even said like in the title like oh like the final or whatever. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh like this is like the last episode here of this season. And yeah, it's just like it's one of those things where I feel like it wasn't even that popular this season. I feel like it's one of the ones that went a little more under the radar. So yeah, season 2, I don't know if it is confirmed. Did you see that?
I haven't seen anything about it. Like I know Wistoria and Alia both are
Yeah.
already locked in for season two. Um, see what Google says here.
I can see Elusive Samurai not getting a season 2, and I can see it being poorly received because again, if it kind of was slept on a little bit this season, if it's coming back season 2 with a bunch of other stacked up animes, I feel like it's gonna go completely under the radar. Sadly, I think the idea of it was really cool, really nice. I thought the animation was phenomenal, but I don't think it played out the way they wanted it to play it out. To play out.
I don't see anything about season two, so that's not really a great sign. Like I know
Yeah.
Wistoria was super popular, which it's always easy to like lock into season two when you're, at the top of the season. Um, but yeah, I could see this maybe not getting a second season. I would probably end up reading the manga when I got some time because I'd love to know how it plays out and kind of what's up with Takauji.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing crazy. I wasn't like wowed. I think like the first two episodes are probably the most intense and kind of gave us that best balance of like horror and like real, war, but also like kind of building up the season. And yeah, it just kind of, like you said, maybe not played out the way they thought it would, but I enjoyed it. Definitely wasn't anything like super crazy though.
I think they should have done 24 episodes into a time skip. I think that would have been the best way to handle it. That would have been a great cliffhanger, something after the credits where it then shows them a bit older and you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Something to kind of get you hyped up, like a cool scene like that. Like maybe it's him returning and he just looks a bit older. Everyone looks a bit more grown and looks stronger. And it's just like, oh, next season's going to be awesome. You know what I mean? Let it develop a bit more. I think that would have been the best play. But yeah, they didn't. They really didn't leave a cliffhanger. So we'll see how it does. We'll see if it does get a season 2. It might be one of those things where it might have a couple seasons and then you end up just kind of going back to it and binging a couple seasons. Be like, oh yeah, I missed this. You know what I mean? One of those kind of animes.
That's a really good point. I actually had that thought while I was watching it. Like this anime would do better if there was like 15, 24, 28 episodes where you
Mm-hmm.
could really like immerse yourself a little bit more. Cuz I feel like not every anime like Golden Kamui, being able to watch like a huge chunk of that and like follow the plot the whole way through I think made it a lot more enjoyable. And like I said earlier, like you are a little bit more immersed and attached to it I think when you have more to watch. And I think that would have benefited from it. Obviously, I'm not the one writing and animating it, but
Yeah,
I feel like overall it probably like a little more fun or like a little bit deeper if we had 24 episodes.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of those animes, because they aren't good with cliffhangers. It's more of that kind of like really cool idea, but they did it in like a slice of life kind of concept where it was just kind of like very tame, very calm, and it wasn't just that like high action where you're like, oh my god, do we need X episode? This is gonna be insane. I can't believe they left it off on that episode. They didn't really kind of do that, so it kind of made it tougher to have continuous hype. So we'll see how it goes. For first season, honestly, and for this anime season, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's gonna suck to see it go, but at the same time, when we have Peaktober and it's about to be absolutely insane, it's like, you know what? I appreciate you, Elusive Samurai, but time to binge on some other grade A stuff.
You're definitely right. I feel like you make a good point with like the slice of life and like action, trying to balance that stuff. I think that's part of the reason why people liked Freren so much because you had such a big sample size. You got enough fights, you got enough action, but you also got like the chill scenes with the characters and some of that like day-to-day stuff, which is also cool. But you had such a, I think, what was it, 28 episodes, 27, something like
Yeah,
that?
it was a lot, but even then, Furman was slept on as well. A lot of people just kind of took it as happy-go-lucky, we're just gonna go on an adventure, and then they end up having some clips resurface of some of the fights and some of the moments, and like, oh, this anime hits like that. It's like, Yeah, you gotta be a bit more patient with it, and that's why I think Viren like had that surge of popularity and then viewership, is then people are like, oh, we gotta give this fucking shit a shot. And of course, that's when you have people that are now binging it and are not going week to week. It was like I think Frieren wasn't the status quo of what you should do with those kind of animes, but kind of the exception. I think Frieren kind of got lucky in that aspect, where you had enough people watching it to see those cool moments to then post a bunch of clips and be like, yo, this was sick. And then everyone else saw that, which then gave everyone the ability to then binge those episodes and it kind of work out. I don't think Elusive Samurai, actually, Elusive Samurai would have had those moments if they did have an extended season, but there were some badass moments where, like, he straight up cut that dude's face in like half, you know what I mean? There was some
That was
sick moments,
sick.
and with that animation, like, it is awesome. It's very clippable, you know what I mean? So that's where you got to have that more like retention to then have people start clipping that stuff, posting it, and people are like, oh my god, I gotta check out this anime. That looks sick. But they just didn't have it. They didn't like give us a bigger sample size and having a longer season. But we'll see how it goes. Wistoria definitely did not have that problem. Wistoria fucking
Ooh.
cleaned up this season. Bro, this episode was so good.
I think like ultimately maybe my criticisms of Elusive Samurai. I The more I think about it, I feel like you're right. If you would have gave us a little bit more and like lead up
Mm-hmm.
to a time skip or give us that like flash of them a little bit older, get you hyped for season two. I feel like everything we got in this finale of Wistoria was very like lore driven. We got, introduced to Finn. There was a lot of stuff that it's like, yo, like what's going on here? Like I want more. I feel like this was a lot better, to look forward to season two because there was a lot of stuff in here that, was new, even though it was the finale.
I feel like this episode, you blinked and it was over. I got to the
Yeah.
end and I was like, wait, is this the fucking end? This episode just started, bro. It was like, it was a really good way to end with story, especially because it just had so much action in the past 2 3 episodes. You know what I mean? You kind of have that tamer kind of like, let's calm down and then get ready for that next season, because the next season is going to be absolute chaos. Just so much to kind of look at. We saw the king of the Mangia Vanders. What? That guy seems like a fucking monster. But then it was so interesting that Will was so drawn to the kid. You know what I mean? Like we were talking literally last podcast episode about like what is Will, because he doesn't seem like he's human, and now we hear that there's this other kind of like race per se called the Finns, and they don't possess magic, but they're kind of a beast in the dungeon. Is there more to them? Because that kid Finn, he moved kind of like Will a little bit. The way he was kind of jumping around, he was very mobile. The way he just like bounced around, like I don't know. The only reason that I'm kind of like, hey, is Will kind of connected to him is because Will was focused purely on him when the fucking king of Mangia Vanders was right there. The one that made everyone bow, every raise, every whatever, just demand respect. Because he's just that strong and just that guy. He's got that what you call aura. Bro, Will's
Yeah.
focused on the other guy. And Will is very he's very attentive. He can like see through a lot of that. So the fact that Will is hung up on this kid, I'm interested. I want to know more about this.
Really, really good point. Like, obviously, that was a sick cameo. I mean, it was more than a cameo. He totally bailed them out and crushed them with that spell.
Yeah.
The King of the Magiavander. That was really cool. But the way they introduced Finn obviously like sparks a lot of interest. Um, and then his scene with Cauldron, the headmaster of the academy, like when he jumps up on her desk and is like, I thought, like he says a couple things that like really stuck out to me. He's like, swords are my territory, wands are your territory. What's he doing at this school? And then she sweats a little bit and it was like, oh shit, like what's going on here? So there's definitely more to it. And I think he knows about Will maybe. Like maybe he's coming off like he doesn't, but there's
Well,
definitely
now
some,
he does. Now he knows about Will after seeing fucking that. Him take out the
yeah, and
Duke.
like I kind of like you said, they move similarly. Like they're very agile, they're very athletic in that sense. But also like he didn't go to anybody else. It wasn't like, Liana stuck out or the Elven dude. He went right to Will. And like I feel like he kind of knew that. I don't know how much they saw, excuse me, of the actual fight with the Grand Duke, but they were definitely drawn to each other, which I think is super interesting. And then, yeah, following up with his conversation with Cauldron, it's like there's definitely more to be explored there. And then right before that conversation they have, like if you stopped it on the little character profile on
Yeah.
Finn, there was like a lot of question marks, but it said he belongs to the race called the People of Light, which are, yeah, kind of mapping out the dungeons and, allow the wands to do their thing. So that was like a really interesting point too. We didn't really get anything on that through the whole season, but definitely sets us up to kind of dive, I think, more into who Will is and more of what's really going on and like kind of how this world is established in Wistoria.
It also just shows us, the Will's fan club. Everyone's gathered around again. We saw that Finn's now part of it. He's not keeping an eye after Will. He's interested. We saw that one girl, the blonde girl. We saw a little cameo, a little snippet of her kind of on top of the school, looking down, watching Will as him and Shion were kind of battling it out. We have Edward and all the other teachers that are kind of keeping an eye on him. The principal is keeping an eye on him. Elfie's in the tower looking down, like, that's my boy. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their eyes on Will. And it's just like season two, I feel like is going to be the complete opposite of season one, where instead of just screw you, man, you suck, you're a laggard, you aren't good, you're talentless, is everyone's gonna be like, I want this guy, like you come with me, you're on my side. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone's got their eyes on him, and I feel like our idea and our like theories of the factions is really starting to amp up and kind of take hold now. Because now we're seeing a bunch of different people from a bunch of different areas take interest in him, and it's like, why? Now we know that there's these villains that are hiding out. We heard about the dungeons creating stuff, so we kind of knew that the dungeon was birthing things. But Mage Slayer swords, what? And it looks like they got a part of it and the villains got a part of it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and they're down there experimenting. You can force the dungeon to then birth certain things. So I feel like a lot is ramping up. A lot is starting to heat up. A lot is starting to take hold about like what's actually going on here. The king of the Manja Vanders was just on an expedition, a campaign in the dungeon. We heard about a couple of other of the Manja Vaders that were on campaigns as well. Probably in the dungeon. So I feel like we're gonna get a lot more into that. It's gonna be a lot more crazy and a lot more like what is going on type stuff. So I'm very, very, very interested in season two. Very interested.
Super excited. They did a really good job of kind of like giving us in season one. I don't want to call it like a redemption arc, but Will's, through his hard work and his merit and, all the things he accomplishes, he earns everybody's respect and is looked at as an equal now, even though he's not, this proficient mage.
Mm-hmm.
So that was super cool. But you're right. I think season two is going to get into a lot more of the meat of Wistoria and like, we have villains. Like you mentioned the dungeon birthing stuff, this crazy mage slayer sword that could have took out the professor. There's like so much that we just like literally scratched on in just this episode alone. I feel like it's really ramping up, but we'll really start to get into what is going on, kind of like the villains, and get more about the Magia Vander and kind of like what they're up to. Like some of them are on excursions, and then we get that scene at the end. It shows like all the leaders of the factions. Like I'm assuming it's Xian's older brother, looked just like him, but like a
Yeah.
little more mature. Xian's older brother. You have the elf queen. The principal, the king of the Magia Vander. Like we got all these like super high level characters that'll come into focus next season, which I'm really excited for. That's like a good progression of the story too. Now you're getting into the more serious stuff, the more talented people. And that light spell from the king, that was so sick.
Dude,
That was
his
so sick.
his wand is also fucking badass. Like that thing
Disgusting.
looks so like, dude, he looks so cool. But what's also really cool and kind of like going off of that is that like also going into the next season with all like the very strong people that we're gonna be meeting is like he's got some strong friends now because they shown that like, hey man, like we respect you now, like fully, like you're a fucking beast. We have no idea what you did, but like we wouldn't have made it out there without you. Bringing you along was like the best idea we've had. They were a great, group together. So having them kind of all be kind of bonded now is actually pretty cool. I thought it'd just be him, Colette, and Joan, but it seems like that's not the case anymore. It seems like we have Liana, Julius, Wignaw. So I'm really excited to kind of see them all kind of interact and move forward, especially in the tower. Do they kind of get divided up? Because like we said, it seems like there are factions and are other people out there with ulterior motives of what they want and want to do. So we'll end up seeing if they end up getting pinned against each other or if they're able to stay together and kind of like work together. But yeah, season two is going to be absolutely insane. There's going to be a lot to look forward to. I feel like it's going to be an absolute mess of just everything going on. So I really hope that they do balance that well too. You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot to kind of juggle story and plot and things going on while keeping that action in and also keeping the momentum from season one. I feel like this is a really easy spot for animes to kind of mess up. You know what I mean? But I have faith in Wistoria. I saw again some of the spoilers, and I don't think that they are going to mess up. So I'm so stoked for season two. We also kind of saw at the end too when they went to go fight that everyone kind of commented, what is Will's body made of? Because how is he up and about already? And we kind of saw in the beginning of the episode that they were all bedridden, but Will was really bedridden. Like he literally could not sit up. Everyone's kind of like just chilling in bed, like sitting up, like hanging out. Liana's just feasting on goddamn apples. But
Yeah.
Will, they can't even sit up. And then at the end of the episode, Will's the one outside training while everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like, we can't do anything right now. You know what I mean? So, and they're like, what is this kid? So I think that just kind of harped more on that, like, he is something else. There is more to him. We didn't get any ideas about that crystal, but going into season two with a lot of things to look forward to, a lot of mysteries, and a lot of excitement. I'm stoked. They did such a great job this season.
Yeah, this was definitely, I think, my favorite anime this season. It was really, really well done, and I feel like we have just as many questions, heading into season two as we did in episode two and three. Because like there was
Mm.
a lot of stuff that would slowly get revealed, but we still don't have like a ton of information. But it's still good to have those questions. I'm super excited about it. I feel like they did an outstanding job. I'm glad I haven't spoiled it, but I don't know if maybe I'll check out the manga. We'll see. But either way, like season two has got me super excited, and I can't wait to see kind of where Will goes from here.
If you read the manga, I'd love to kind of get your reaction of some of the stuff that happens. Uh, there's some
Sick.
insane stuff, but like I'm definitely gonna try to wait for the anime just because it does seem like it's about to get so insane. Looking back on it, what a season we had with it. We called a lot of stuff talking about the barrier falling, about Shion being an absolute beast and a solid dude. A lot about just everything that was like transpiring and happening. So I'm super excited. I thought that that was really awesome. Out of everything this anime season, I definitely got to say I think Wistoria was hands down my favorite. What about you? What
Heck
do you think
yeah.
was your favorite?
I liked Toy Story a lot. It was like kind of unexpected. I didn't really have like super crazy expectations, but between the fighting and they have really really good characters. There's a lot of different like elements. Like even something simple like Liana being like a close range or close combat kind of
A knight.
mage fighter. Yeah, like a knight. Totally unexpected. You would think lightning, you'd be casting spells. It was
Yeah.
just really well written. And I really respect the fact that I have like a ton of questions and I'm like itching for more at the end of the season. We really didn't get anything with Elfie. Like, there's just so much more that I want to dive into. I feel like as a 12 episode anime, that means it was like a good season and we enjoyed it. But definitely was my favorite this season, even though there was a lot of really good stuff. I felt like this was a fun season, but I felt like Wistoria took the cake for me.
I really hope that they come out season two quickly. Next year would be kind of cool. Just saying, like early next year, crazy,
Let's
but
go.
but yeah,
Please.
it is confirmed. So I am stoked. Like I said, the manga definitely. I don't know if it's gonna be good, or if it's gonna be bad. No idea. I don't know really what's gonna happen. I just know it's like some simple moments where it's just like, wow, that being animated would really kind of shock people. I feel like that's one thing Wisteria did a great job of is these twists and turns, the things that like you kind of see coming. We said that we predicted a lot of kind of cool stuff, but that's also because we also had some outlandish fucking predictions. We're like, yeah, what if this bear just fucking explodes? It's like, oh wait, that's the point. Okay, cool, awesome. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Maybe Will just becomes a mage. Oh, he did. Okay, cool. you know, like that's crazy. But like they also did a lot that we just didn't really see coming. Like you're saying with Hiana being a close range and being like her family being a long line of knights and just so many other things. They did such an awesome job, and I feel like they're going to be doing even more when it comes to like, oh wow, I didn't see that one coming. Like that's cool. Like them all being friends. It's just like season two is gonna be a blast. I'm stoked. Is there anything else you want to add to any of that?
Nah, it was a really fun season, but I can't wait for Peaktober. This has got a lot of heavy hitters. And I'm super excited. But yeah, hopefully we get Wistoria, early next year maybe, or just next year would be good. And I
Yeah.
also think it's important to keep the momentum because Wistoria is red hot. So hopefully
Oh,
we get more. But sensational season. Alia was awesome. Just a lot of really good stuff front to back.
to be honest, I think there's a couple animes I might have to go back and kind of binge the dub of because they seem like they were pretty good. Some animes that like I ended up dropping, but not anything like personal. It was just kind of just like there's a lot to watch, especially because we watch a bunch of other animes too, for the sake of content. Like Pseudo Harem seems like that turned out to be really fucking good. I've seen a bunch of clips from that, following it along, and like, damn, that actually seems like that could have been really good. There's a couple that seem like they really kind of like shined and actually like performed well, even though we didn't necessarily talk about them. So not everyone's cup of teas, and there were some heavy hitters with Alia and Wistoria, but I definitely think a great season. Bit of a shorter episode here, guys, because we're just closing out the season. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but I feel like next podcast episode is going to be a long one as we just dive into so many new animes, boys. So if you're excited, let us know down below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and what a good season. What a season that everyone thought was going to be shitty, was going to be boring, and it turned out to be really fucking enjoyable.
Yeah, this summer season was really sick, and I feel like that's kind of a testament to how good anime's gotten. Like you have a lot of premieres or stuff that doesn't have a lot of hype behind it beforehand, and you come out and you have 3, 4, 5 really, really good, solid animes that you're looking forward to season 2. So this season rocked, and hopefully everyone else enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah, and hope you guys are ready because it's Peaktober, bitches. So
Let's go.
get ready. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We'll see you guys next week, next Tuesday. We'll be talking about some brand new shit. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Hope you're excited. That is it. Peace.